Hello there, sex kittens. On the subject of happiness, two things to go at today. Which way round to go at them? Holes first. From comments, all this is bounced out of comments, was the suggestion that contentment is digital, binary. It either is or it isn't. And I dismissed this in the first millisecond, but then half a second in I thought, no, it deserves some consideration. And I thought, well, is this just because of the word contentment? You either are content or you are not content. And I thought, well, happiness. Then you go, well, it could be said that you are either happy or you are not happy. Now, if this is true, it kind of blows my way of going about this, because I wanted a continuum, a scale to fire off. Then we could drag the slider up and down and say slightly more, slightly less, and all that sort of stuff. So I'd like you to have consideration yourself. Is contentment a hole that you just plop into? Bloop, I am content. And on the other side, you plop into a hole that says, bloop, I am not content. Or I am unhappy in this hole, and the light comes on. I am happy in this hole, and the light comes on. As I say, it's possible. But I'd like it to be a continuum. So I'm a bit biased, so I want to know what you think. Or is it the words happiness and contentment? Can we think of a better word that would describe a continuum of inner feeling that could be registered as positive towards negative, or across a scale that's positive and negative? Anything you can think of. Right, the other thing is... yes. Much has been said on comparativeness. And I think this is very, very true. And the more it's looked into, the more interesting it gets. As in, I'll give a simple example to start with and then drag it into more interesting, deep ideas. If I'm quite poor, and my neighbour's quite poor, and my neighbour's quite poor, the chances are I won't fall into the unhappiness hole and be unhappy, because I can wallow in the fact that everyone's poor around me. That's a simple example. I'll take it into where I was before. My continuum of time, going from 2000 and nearly 18 here, back to the little mammals that ran around the feet of the dinosaurs, where Homo sapiens have been. And we had the dog, which I was saying, well, somewhere along this continuum, we can equate the Homo sapien with the modern day dog, just to give us a comparison sort of place. But it came to me that a dog, either the Homo sapien type dog or a modern day dog, is very similar to me and my neighbours. On a negative sort of one, if you give one of your 2 or 3 dogs a treat and not the other two, the other two will notice the unfairness of it. Or you give 2 lots of treats out and not to one, the one will certainly notice the unfairness of it, and the chances are, although they won't care about it, the other two will as well. So what I'm saying is, on the continuum, it could even be all the way back to the little mammals that scurry around the dinosaurs' feet, would be able to spot unfairnesses due to comparisons. They might well, it's not unreasonable to imagine that they would feel, how they manifest this I don't know, but or who would appreciate the manifesting of them showing that they think that something is unfair. But I don't think it's unreasonable to imagine that the little creature would understand unfairness due to being able to compare two things. And if you think that's too wild, you just drag it up the time slider until wherever you go now. But I think it's definitely right that cat, dog, I've never had a hamster, but somewhere around there, well, certainly that sort of creature can understand unfairness by comparing two things. Even if we go to humans, I think we can say that the human, modern human now, and all the way back to where you would call them a human, are absolute comparison machines. That's what they do most all of the time. It's based on comparison. And from those comparisons now, much of what we feel derives from those comparisons. They might be between me and Bezos. Is it Bezos, the Amazon fella? Bezos? But it's unlikely to be. Even now, it's more likely to be between my neighbour on the right side, and on the left side. But less and less. 100 years ago, it would certainly be your neighbours on either side. It's just that we know more now through the internet and television and all that to do the comparisons with. So that's a bit waffly, but I think it's very important to note that if we're ever talking about happiness or contentment, first we've got to decide whether it's binary, as in you are or not content, or it can be described as a continuum, and I'd like your ideas in comments down there. And then I think we must say that either continuum of happiness or contentment is very contingent on what we have decided to compare to make us feel the way we do. We will automatically do comparisons. What we do as humans is compare things. We're forever comparing things and drawing conclusions from those comparisons. And for all our thinkings, it's vital to always refer back to the fact that we will be comparing between things. Right? Yeah, so that's picked up on the two main themes from comments, I think. But if you think you've been left out, just shout below and I might hear. But normally what happens, a comment comes in and it will work its way into here and out here into a video, or it won't. So leave that with you, see what you think. Bye.